So you're new to Genshin, and as you're playing the game, you're finding out that all these different elements have different reactions with each other. And in this video, we're going to talk about the reaction of Vaporize. So Vaporize is the reaction between Pyro and Hydro, or Hydro and Pyro. And no matter which order you do them in, whether it's Hydro on Pyro or Pyro on Hydro, it will cause the Vaporize reaction. However, it does matter which order you do them in for damage. I'm Cassie, Mango, whatever the hell you want to call me. And because not everybody is AR60 with 36 Start Abyss, I make videos that hopefully everybody can understand. And in this video, we're going to go over the things that you need to know to use Vaporize reactions in Genshin. So Genshin does do its best, not its best, Genshin does make an attempt at trying to explain Vaporize reactions inside of this domain near Mondstadt. And I highly recommend that you do this domain to learn the basics of Vaporize, but it doesn't give you everything that you need to know. It does not give you all the information. So in simple terms, if you have Pyro on an enemy, and then you hit it with Hydro to cause the Vaporize, you will get a ×2 multiplier on the damage. If it's the opposite, if you have Hydro on an enemy, and you apply Pyro to it, then you will get a ×1.5. And to simplify stuff, we're not going to be talking about how Elemental Mastery can affect it. We're going to be talking about just the base reaction. So you might think that, well, just always use Hydro as the second element to get the ×2. Unfortunately, the characters do not exist to do consistent Hydro onto Vaporize, or what is called a forward Vaporize, where you're getting the ×2. The characters don't exactly exist to allow for that to happen. However, the opposite, a reverse Vaporize, where it's Pyro onto Hydro, the characters do exist for that to easily and consistently happen. So for Vaporize reactions, as far as like what stats matter, what you want to do is you want to build your character how you normally would. With like an attack sans, a elemental damage goblet, and then crit rate, crit damage circlet. You want to build them normally. So whichever character you're causing the reactions with, you want to have your normal builds. So we are going to take Elemental Mastery out of this. I will do a brief explanation with Elemental Mastery at the end, but for the sake of math and numbers, we are only going to be considering these reactions with 0 Elemental Mastery for this video. Now, there are certain artifact sets like Crimson Witch of Flames, where the 4-piece set does give you an extra bonus with Vaporize and Melt. So this can be a really good set to get more out of a Vaporize reaction. So what did I mean when I said that the characters did not exist to do a forward Vaporize as easily as a reverse Vaporize? Well, you have certain characters like Xingqiu or Yelan that make Vaporize using Pyro onto Hydro very consistent. So because of how Xingqiu's burst works, I will be able to have Klee on the field doing normal attacks, applying Hydro, and then vaporizing them with her bombs. All right, so first we're going to do the reaction, and the first reaction is going to be a forward Vaporize. So we're going to apply Pyro with Klee first, go to Xingqiu, use his skill, and we got the Vaporize reaction there. That was that 2600. Now that this enemy is applied with Hydra, we're going to reverse Vape, and there you go, 7300 on the reverse Vape. Normal damage is what, 1100, 3500 on the crit. And then if we do the Vape,
Rain outlines your fate.
apply wet. If we do the Vape, 9200, that would have been the crit off of the 3500. Well, let's see. So 2400. So we're going from around 1100 to 2400. 1183 to 2400. That is the Vape multiplier. So that is where the Vape is happening. Now, a Vaporize can crit. It is not like Electrocharge and Overload where it can't crit. Vaporize can crit. So that's another reason why Vaporize reactions are very good. So now we're going to look at why a reverse vaporize, being hydro is applied first then pyro, is really good even if it has a lower multiplier. So if we use Xingqiu's burst and go back to Klee, we are doing vaporize with her normal attacks because of Xingqiu's burst, and it is just constant vaporize. Right, that 20k on the crit vape with the charged attack. It's crazy. So you can do vaporize relatively easy. There isn't a burst like that for pyro, where you're going to apply pyro very quickly with normal attacks to go with a hydro character. That is why reverse vaporize is so much easier to do, specifically because of characters like Xingqiu and Yelan. Something else that we can do is we can do like Coco, and we're gonna go and we're gonna swirl. Now you see that the swirl caused the vaporize as well. You can swirl and get vaporized if you have hydro and pyro on the field. A better character for this would definitely be like Hu Tao versus Klee. I don't have Hu Tao, or I would be using her. Now we are gonna talk about a team that was arguably one of the best teams in the game at one point. This is a team that can really do forward and reverse vapes kind of back to back. Child being your on-field hydro applicator, Xiangling being your off-field pyro applicator, Sucrose to swirl. Don't give me crap about Xiangling's level. I know that I need to level her up, okay? I know. Okay, so let's look at these in slow motion, right? This first one, we're going to do it in the order so that way Xiangling is going to be doing the vaporize. So we're going to have a reverse vaporize. We've already applied hydro. We've got some vaporize right there. Sucrose's burst picked it up, so it is applying the hydro. Then we have Child come in, applying more hydro, letting Xiangling's burst do the vaporize. Now we're going to look if we reversed it. So we're going to start again. Child hitting hydro, so that way we can swirl it with Sucrose. Then we're going to drop Bennett's burst for the buff. Then we're going to drop Xiangling's Guoba. I should have dropped her burst, but I made a mistake and had to swap back in right here, as you can see. Then we're going to go to Child and use his skill, and the damage is just crazy. Now, I know that my Xiangling is much lower level, but you can still see where a forward vape can be really good. So with the current characters in the game, doing forward vaporizes are not easy. They are definitely doable, but they are not easy. Reverse vape is much easier, which is why it is seen more of a standard to go to with Xingqiu and Yelan. So we did see in there that you can swirl these two elements and cause vaporize reactions if the elements are on the field with Animo characters. If you are using VV, the artifact set, then you want to swirl the element that is causing the vaporize. Okay, so now we're going to have the little segment of Elemental Mastery. Does Elemental Mastery affect vaporize? It does. So the correct amount of Elemental Mastery to have on your character that is triggering the reaction is around 200 EM. Elemental Mastery can affect the multiplier that you get from Vaporize. So a reverse Vaporize, which was a 1.5 multiplier, at 200 EM becomes right around a ×2 multiplier. And I believe that the forward vape takes it up to around 2.5 at 200 EM. 200 EM is the sweet spot for where you want to be on your character triggering it. Now, a character like Sucrose can share her Elemental Mastery with other characters through her skill and her burst, so you can almost not invest in Elemental Mastery if you're going to partner your character with somebody like Sucrose or Kazuha. But that is, again, a specific scenario. If you are not using specifically Sucrose or Kazuha, then you do need Elemental Mastery on the character causing the reaction. Okay, so now we're going to talk about something that is called Overvape. Now, I did videos on Overloaded and Electrocharged before this one on Vaporize, specifically because of Overvape. Now, Overvape is going to allow us to cause Vaporize, Overload, and Electrocharge all at the same time. So for that, we need to get somebody like Xingqiu with his burst and Beto's burst. So we're going to activate Xingqiu's burst. We're going to activate Beto's burst. We're going to go to Klee, and we are just going to be doing this. Now, see, we've got Electrocharge, we've got Vaporize, we've got Overloaded. We have all of these different reactions happening at one time because of something to do with Electrocharged. But you can cause all of these different reactions at one time with characters like Xingqiu and Beto. Okay, now let's look at the Overvape in action in slow motion. So we activate Xingqiu, we activate Beto, and then we're going to go back over to Klee. Now, when Klee does her normal attacks, it is going to use Xingqiu's burst and Beto's burst to cause all of these different reactions. And when her bomb hits the enemy, it's going to cause the overload. It's going to cause the vaporize because Electrocharged allows Hydro and Electro to exist on an enemy at the same time. So that's why this works. It is so much fun to play with this, especially with Klee, who's just a chaotic little arson. It's so fun, and it does fit Klee so well, which is why I chose to use Klee in this video. And that would be Overvape. And while Overvape does have its flaws, it is one of the more fun kind of ways to use characters to where you're causing just an absolute insane amount of reactions, right? You would have to build your character very differently, but it is so cool to just see all of those different reactions. And with that, that is going to be the end of this video. If you did learn something, do be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video.